Okay, so I am just doing the final step that I like to do for a lot of my work. I go over with a very wet brush sometimes to soften everything. And what I do is get a bunch of water in this brush and then lightly scrub over certain areas like the teeth. One of the ways to make teeth look good is keep them really soft. So I did go over the teeth and I just scrubbed. I don't want to do it again because now it's wet and it's been scrubbed and I don't want to lift up too much. And then this had a lot of paint in it over here, as you can see, and it's kind of bleeding, so I'm going to blot that. I don't want that to bleed too much. And I'm going to dry it so it doesn't. So I'm just sopping up the water now over here. I put a lot of water on here because I just wanted to soften these harsh lines through here. And I don't know if I can quote unquote fix this, but I asked my husband, who's not an artist at all, but I just think that almost is more helpful than if they are an artist. If anything pops out at him like needing a little bit of adjustment, and he said he thought the chin was too blue, so let's see what I can do with that. I don't know if I can do anything because I think I used ultramarine blue here though, and that lifts pretty well. So let's just go over there. I have to think about what brush. I think I'll use this as an acrylic painting brush, so it's a little stiffer but still quite soft. And I'm just going to go over this blue and try to calm it down because I agree with him now that he says that. It's pretty blue. And I was trying to get a little bit of that 5 o'clock shadow look, but it just came out a little too blue, I think. Not bad, but it's lifting out a little bit, but I'm just squeezing the water out of this brush, and I got it very wet, and now I'm going back in and just kind of sucking it up with this moist but mostly dry brush, just to lift some of that blue up and soften it, soften the edges here. You really can't go wrong softening a portrait up as much as possible. So I'm doing that, and this area in here could use a little bit of warmth anyway, so I'm gonna go over this area with a mix of yellow and red and just kind of warm that up anyway, and get it less blue and more skin toned, but trying to keep it subtle still. And then now that I've got all my paper wet, this is a good time to adjust some of the tones. I just found a beautiful video on YouTube of one of my favorite painters, Liu. Liu is his first name. And I probably am not saying his name correctly, and I apologize for that. But I want to do a video based on my inspiration from that, because he gets his paper really, really wet and it keeps his edges really soft. And I want to try that. I think you have to use 300-pound paper. And so I would like to try that technique and just play with that a little bit. So I might do a video on that. Would that interest any of you guys? Leave me a comment what you think. Leave me a comment what you think of Liu. He's famous for his ballerina paintings, so look him up. I'll try to remember to put a link to his work. All right, I toned down that blue. What do you guys think? Does it look better? messaged the owner, the future owner of this painting, and he was happy with it, but I just usually have last minute things that I want to do. So that was kind of pretty much it. Let's not let this bleed too much. I'm just going to soak this up while my paper's really wet. I was just sopping up some of this brown that seeped into the background, which isn't all bad. But I think I'll go in and darken the darkest parts of this mouth and maybe put a little bit more dark in here. In fact, I could do it right now just to give that final pop. You gotta get your darks dark and your lights light for that final pop in a portrait when you're finishing it. So I'm just going here. I do want this pretty dark. And it's nice time to work on that because all the paper is wet and it'll keep it really soft. So I just went in and re-darkened that. I don't want it to get too washed out there. And go back in with some pure ultramarine to put some darker streaks in it, so it's not all one flat color. I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to darken these little areas right here in the mouth, the darkest little areas, because they did get a little washed out. Let me see if I can zoom in, you guys. See this right here, the dark area? I'll darken that, make a final darkness. And his chin looks a lot less blue. I think it looks more like what the original photograph looked like. And then his eyes, I think his eyes look great. I'm so happy with how his eyes came out. I worked very hard to keep them very soft and only put in a few hard edges like in the creases of his eyes. And I need to go back in. That's one more thing, is I'll go and darken a little bit of the pupils. That's one more area that I'll get really, really dark before the final mailing of the painting. And I think we'll call it good after that. I need to fix his neck. I just saw this. Look at this little indent right here. Let's see if I can fix that. You guys can watch as I do that. His neck should be straight right there. There shouldn't be. So I'm just scrubbing very delicately. I don't want that to have a dimple right there. That was not supposed to happen. These little acrylic painting brushes are great because you can use them to do very soft scrubs, and you can use them for painting with watercolor, but I really like them for scrubbing out little areas. So let's see if I can get this whole thing. By the way, do you guys like my zinnia? I love my zinnias. I've got it in this little pottery jar that I found when I went on my trip to Japan. I don't want to tip it too much because then the water will spill. But isn't that just a beautiful zinnia? I love it. Anyway, that's me chasing butterflies. Okay, so you guys remember to subscribe to my Patreon, and if you would like me to look at your paintings or help you along the way with a painting that you're having a tough time with, I have set up a Patreon for that reason, just to help people with their paintings. You can send me things to review, give you ideas on last minute touch-ups you could do to improve a current painting. You can send me pictures at the very beginning of what you plan on painting, and I can talk you through the reference photo and whether or not it's going to be a good picture to work from, etc., etc. So it just gives you extra access to me to guide you more in your individual painting journey. And I really love doing that. So I hope you guys will join me over there. You can join for as little as $2 a month. I think I'm about to restructure how I do my Patreon again. I just started it last year and I'm still tinkering with it to make it so it's something that if you're paying into it, you really get something out of it. So I would love to have you join me there and have a little bit closer access to me and my sage watercolor advice. Tongue in cheek. Okay, you guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to try to say hi. Hi. I'll get up here with my dahlias and my zinnias. Bye, you guys. I enjoyed talking to you guys. I always try to show off my flowers as much as possible. I'm kind of a garden dork. Okay, bye.